Welcome to my view of the stock market. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. We're getting closer to Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite holidays because you get together without the burden of having to buy someone a gift. Just get together and have fun. All right, watch football, fall asleep on the couch, and do all that other stuff. Anyway, you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which slumped again today, made a new low below Friday's low. My friend, as soon as it hit below the 22,436, he texted me and, hey, don't make lows on Fridays. No, but you do. Many are made on Tuesday, which was today, and it undercut the low from Friday, which is 22,436. The low today was 22,231. It closed well off the lows of 22,432, so a couple hundred points off the lows there. But it was down 275 points, 1.21% loss on the session. Like I said, it closed at 22,432. The low was 22,231. So we'll take a look at this on a 5-minute chart because it whooshed down in the morning. That's what you want to see, right? That big whoosh down, which we got on Friday here, but then we had buyers come in. Monday weakness, Tuesday more weakness. And here you can see the low of 22,231. Then buyers came in. It made another low. I'm not saying it's the low. It's nearly 8% now correction. 24,019 to 22. 231, but I don't know. I just think it needs more time and probably more price for this correction after 62% gain from Liberation Day to October 29th. It's only been a few weeks here. The close below the 50 was 1.9%. So just confirming this weakness below the 50 is something I don't like. Bad things happen, below the 50. It's got to rally back through here pretty soon for me to get interested in the market. That it was 2.8% now below the 21. The 10, oh, excuse me, I think I have it on the 5. Yeah, I have to switch that for today's exercise. I will have to move it back, but yeah, the 10 here curling lower, the 21 curling lower, the 10 is crossed below the 21, and they both look like they're heading below the 50. And yeah, this looks like it's a start. This is how it starts, the start of a downtrend like we saw, back here, where the faster moving averages cross below the longer term moving averages. So, the best thing to do for me is just uh, go to cash or go to the drug market because that's what's working. It's like a 80s film, right? Cash and drugs. That's what's working. A little bit of gold, maybe, a little bit of oil, but mostly the drug sector is what I feel most comfortable with right now. But anyway, I don't want to get into that just quite yet. I do have to look around here, and the Dow Jones, which had been super strong, making a new high on November 12th of 48. 431 now, phew, slicing the 50 there today, closing 1.2% below it. So it's not just the Nasdaq, it's all the indexes are showing weakness. Bitcoin is way down, what, 93,000, something like that, off the high of like 125. So all the, speculative risky assets are being sold, and even some of the the top 30 stocks, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 is down 1.4% below its 50, and the Russell 2000 it crossed that threshold a while ago here, and then it rallied back. It November 6th undercut. November 4th rallied back up. November 6th undercut again, rallied back up, and then now finally well below the 50 here, 4.1%. So it's all of the indexes, it's all across the board. I'd mentioned earlier the RSP was weak. The Mag 7 was, or the top 10 stocks were holding it up. You could throw Broadcom and some other names in there. Taiwan Semi, Netflix, I guess, not Taiwan Semi, Netflix, Broadcom. What else is in there? The top um, names in the RSP. excuse me, the S&P. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This has been showing weakness for a while. I just couldn't, it did make a new high here, but just, barely above the 50, barely above the moving averages, and now well below. It's moving 50 day, 2%. So it's across the board weakness. It's hard to get away from it. It's hard to hide. I did mention the drug stocks, and I'm going to get there in a minute, but I have to start off today with Home Depot, which reported earnings this morning, and it really stunk. And it stands to reason, ever since COVID, people were home fixing up their homes, but since the pandemic, people are, traveling and getting those experiences. We've seen that in the cruise lines and the airlines and hotels. But now these guys, Home Depot, actually blamed it on the hurricane for their weakness this quarter. But then they turned around. There's a nice cup with handle that failed, huh? They turned around and they lowered earnings guidance for the next year by 5%. So I guess they're expecting more hurricanes. I don't know. You can't blame it on the weather. When you hear CEOs blaming stuff on the weather, it's like adios, get out of the way. And that's what happened today with Home Depot. Lots of selling there as they're making excuses. Like I said, Wall Street, they don't want to hear about your labor pains. You show them the baby. And Home Depot's got no baby. They just got excuses. So yeah, I guess blame it on the hurricane didn't work today for Home Depot. All right, I've got to get to some of these names here that people are in love with that have, and for good reason. They've had real good runs. This is Robinhood, up from 29 to 150. It's been more than a five bagger. And now it's been falling on hard times here. It fell back to its 50, found support, bounced back to the 50. It came back to its 50 too many times. Now it's crashed below its 50, 12.5% below its 50. And let me see here, 26% off of its high. We know that stocks that go 40% below, their highs have less chances of making new highs. Yeah, the odds are against them. And we play the odds here. But this is only 26 below. And now you could say this is, making a double bottom base pattern here. It could be, trying to keep an open mind, trying to be flexible. I also know that stocks that are former leaders that have had big runs like this, 50% of them fall 80% and 80% of them fall, 50%. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one go back to, I don't know, below 100. What's the 200 here? And it's normal for a stock to come back to its 200, which is what, 86 or even below that, right? 50% would be a lot lower than that. But anyway, I'm just saying keep an open mind that these things that have been real good to people for a long, long time, they get married to them, and then they don't get divorced, and then they lose money, and they wonder why they try to fight the tape, saying this is a great stock, I made money with it, it's been great to me for so long, but you have to get out. Even if you're up 500% on this one, you want to hold it. To me, I would just say, cut your losses and move on. There's other things to buy. It's well below its 50, and there's a lot of them like this. I don't want to just pick on Robinhood. Palantir, good stock for a long, long time. I know people love it, and it's going to be, the darling forever. But come on, man, this thing went from what, 66 to 200. I mean, and now it's not that far off its high. Not like Robinhood. Yeah, it's only 19%, but still below the 50, and you got to be open-minded and saying, hey, the run could be over for this, and it could, pull back real hard. The Michael Burry and Peter Thiel, these guys are after these Robinhood, not Robinhood, Palantir and NVIDIA, saying they're overvalued. And I don't own either one. I have no dog in the fight, but I just know that bad things happen below the 50, and I just don't want to argue with the market. So for me, that would be a sell. Even if you're up and have profits below the 50, you have to sell, even if you don't have that 5% loss, which is an automatic sell. And there's just a lot of these stocks that have been good to people that they want to hold and argue with the market. CIFR mining, I mean, this one went from what, $1.86 to $25. I mean, if you don't take profits there, now it's sliced, it's 10, slices 21, slices 50. And when a stock slices 50 like that, like a vertical move, you want to see the V-shaped recovery, like boom, right back. And this one now is starting to live below it's 50. And yeah, that's not good here. Okay, it's up 1.5% this week, but you can see it's 43% off its high, excuse me. It's 43% off its high. And we know from studying history that the stocks that trade more than 40% off their high, not saying they don't have any chance. Of course, they have a shot at making new highs, but the odds are against them coming back and making new highs. Not impossible. Well, what you want to see here is this stock rally right back above its 50. It doesn't have to do it immediately, but it can't be living below the 50 and making lower lows here, like every day lower low. You could see that 1696, 1475, 1355. And so yeah, now it 1361 the low today. So it's not instilling any confidence in me. And there's a lot of them like this. Iris Energy, same thing, sliced to 50 in a vertical fashion. And now it can't rally back up. And you can see the big volume bars of selling here, like people want out of Iris Energy. Yeah, it had one day where it had a rally, but you can see the big pink volume bars. There's a lot of distribution here, and when it rallies up, it rallies on weaker volume. So to me, that's definitely a red flag. And I'm not going to sit here and hold my breath and hope. Hope is not a good strategy for these names. CoreWeave is another one that people fall in love with, and it's in a free fall, man. It's sliced, it's 50. I mean, you can see that short term and moving averages, below the longer term. This is just a recipe for disaster. Below the 84 lows from prior. What else? NBIS is another one that people just love. Um, to me, it slices vertically. Yeah, and I had people saying, "Oh, it's just forming a double bottom base," and that's possible. You always want to stay, open-minded here. It's possible it's forming a double bottom base and it'll build the right side of a base and rally back through the 50, but you can always wait until it does rally back through the 50 and builds the right side of the base before getting in. You don't have to buy the lows here because it's very likely that it'll go head lower. Once again, selling, high volume selling, low volume up days. So yeah, these you just don't want to get married to these things. This one's 36% off of its high. You can see it pulled back here to its that red line is the 10-week line, and the pink line is the 20-week line. So that's that's showing weakness, right? That's like the 100-day. If I switched it to the 100-day, that's when there would be finding support there at the 100-day. So just watch it. I'm not saying it can't rally back through the 50, but you just wait for it to. Like you got to be from Missouri, and they have to show you. You can't just hold them in hope. They have to prove that they can rally back up with some volume. And this one, since crashing through its 50, has not shown any signs of that at all. Anyway, I could do this with a lot of these AI names. I'm not going to. I'm just going to point out one stock that this is what you want to see. It undercut the 50, it lived below there for a couple weeks, right? And then now it rallied back through today. It rallied back through there actually last Friday when we had that, reversal, but today now has rallied back above 25% move for ONDS Ondas holding. So that's kind of what you want to see. Now I would be interested in buying that above the 50, not here. Because the odds are that it's going to head lower. This thing went from what, $11 to 4.95. So it was way below, 40% below its high, 33% still. So maybe this is one that can beat the odds and make a new high above 1170. We'll have to wait and see. But a nice move today. It's above the 50, and that's what you want to see from all those stocks that I just showed you. Moving right along. You know what? I guess I'll go to the Mag 7 because tomorrow, NVIDIA is going to be the big news. They report tomorrow after the bell. Close below the 50. Microsoft, The European Union was probing them, but once again, if you don't know anything about anything in the news, you just say, "Hey, the slice is 50." Took, a week or so to rally back up, got rejected. Now there it goes, right? It's the Matombo treatment at the moving average, and yeah, I mean it sliced its 50 a while ago, like on the fourth, yeah. And look at how many days it took. Big volume selling. And today it just crashed on weaker volume. Meta had a favorable antitrust decision today, so it rallied into the close, but still, I mean, this is in a complete downtrend. All the moving averages heading lower. A big volume selling here on this one. So the market's telling you that, I don't know, maybe the AI theme is not going to be as powerful as we had expected, or it's not going to return investment because they're spending a lot of money. Amazon, another European probe with Microsoft. So this one's showing weakness as well. Big volume selling here recently after a spike following its earnings reports. Let me see. Google, we know that it got a favorable judgment from Judge Mehta, and it's been ripping ever since. So Google is the one in the Mag 7 that looks pretty decent. Apple, not bad, just trading back to its 21, and Tesla's below its moving averages. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I went through that exercise. I went through the Home Depot earnings report. I guess I've got to let me see. I'm not going to go through all the earnings reports today. I'm not going to do it. Let me see. What am I going to do? Well, AMD is one that people are interested in. Sliced its 21 a couple days ago on the 7th, rallied back up when I guess earnings, maybe. I don't know. Lisa Su was on TV recently talking about, oh, that was right. Their investor day on that Monday rallied up and then sold off ever since. So now it closed below its 21. So, even the strong names are selling off below the 21. That's not a good sign. CrowdStrike's another one that I like. Yeah, Slice is 21 today. So they report on the second. And, all eyes are on NVIDIA tomorrow. So anyway, I'm going to move on. I think I've done enough of that exercise. And I mentioned at the top that it's gold and actually drugs and cash is what's working. This is Barrick Mining up 2% today. Just these things are, no great shakes, but at least they're not losing your money, right? AEM Agnico, how did that do today? It's just flat around the 50, not bad. DRD, yeah, just kind of flat. On a day like today, when the Nasdaq was down, all the indexes were down, just holding the gains looks pretty decent. Some of the oil names, Imperial, not bad. MPC, one that I had on my ready list, just holding its own there. EQT is another one. Uh, Oil and gas stock down another 0.5% today. That thing will probably move when you look the other way. What else we have? Oh, YPF, which is one of these Argentine oil and gas plays, not bad. And then PBF, a refiner, holding above the 10, so not doing too bad. All right, I'm going to switch the moving average to the 5 because I'm going to go through the drug names and I'm going to go through some of our relative strength stocks. And this is what I look for when the markets pull back, when they start correcting, right? You got to think of new ideas. You can't just hold on to those old names that I just showed you. And you got to know where the strength is, where some of these stocks are finding support, at their moving average. And I'm going to start with Roche and some of these bigger names in the drug market. This is a 337 billion. They got a ton of stocks in their pipeline and in their catalog, I should say, and in the pipeline, up nearly 10% today on news with Genentech. I want to say breast cancer, but I might be wrong there. Some form of cancer, I forget. Yeah, breast cancer. I can't even read my own notes here. Um, and just some names that I think are actionable that, if you didn't buy them today, maybe, look around, this looks better to me than Robinhood. This is Liquidia. It's got a decent volume, 2.6 billion market cap, up 6% today, just breaking out of a base. RIGL, this one was a real ripper earlier and then formed a base here and now moving higher. It's got that blue dot indicating the strength versus the S&P, which was completely weak today. So this thing was up nearly 9% breaking out of a base. You can see what that looks like on a nice weekly chart there. So RIGL and Liquidia, those two look pretty good to me. Also, UTHR has this rare ascending base pattern, which you don't really see that often. It's up more than 2% this week, just grinding higher. There it is. Makes a high, pulls back, makes a high, pulls back, makes a high, pulls back. 10% or so. And it's got the blue dot as well, so showing strength in this week tape. Just trying to give, some different ideas. Just look around that you're not stuck on Palantir and Robinhood, some of those names that have just kind of they did their job, they did their thing, and now they're kind of cooling off. That's all. INSM is another one that I like. Cracked 200 today. Now I remember back in the day, last summer, when it was trying to crack 100, went above 100, that I was going to have a hard time, and then nope, it went right through it like poop through a goose. Ran up to 149, pulled back. That was your chance at 134. Ran up to like 168, pulled back to 154, another chance. Ran up to 197, pulled back, and now here it is today, cresting the 200 level. 203.65 was the high. I'm thinking this is going to have trouble at 200 and kind of stall out here, but the way the drug stocks are going, yeah, it might go right through it as well. IMNM is another one. Immunome has a readout here pretty soon, just inside day today. If the readout's good, it's going to be the penthouse. If it's bad, it's going to be the outhouse. And that's just the luck of the draw in the drug land, in the biotech world. A couple other names, CYTK. You know what? I should save this because I think this is on our relative strength list. I'm pretty sure that one is. TERN is another one just going ballistic here. It's not on our relative strength list because it's not a $30 stock, but still, I mean, come on, look at this thing every day. It's just going higher with volume. Look at that. It's only up 22% this week. So kind of the anti-Nasdaq, anti-AI trade there. TARS, did I show this one already? I don't think I did. Tarsus, nice 76.81 here, pulled back. Now today blew past that 76.81 level. Yeah, that's a nice little base there. It might only be like 5 weeks, but yeah, the drug stocks, like I said, like an 80s movie, cash and drugs, you'll do you well. Like Crockett and Tubbs in Miami Vice or like a Scarface. Gotta think like Scarface. ARQT, they announced a new product, just blasted higher. I shouldn't say they announced it. FDA approval on Friday, I believe it was, up 9%. And yeah, 4% yesterday. It's up yeah, 9% this week. Not bad, just grinding higher. Oh boy, there's so many of them here. Jazz had news yesterday and followed through today to the upside, big time, up 6%. ZYME also had news yesterday, pulled back today. It's not what you want to see. Oh yeah, I said I was going to mention these large ones. Merck breaking out of a base here, man. Merck moving 4%. That's like a, this thing's like it moves glacially, right? Um, 97 there would probably be your trigger out of this stage one base, but man, that thing was ripping higher. Merck, Eli Lilly, this is the beast of the group. Yeah, and then what was the other one? BIIB, Biogen. Um, yeah, these things just breaking out of bases and ripping higher. These are big stocks, these aren't small ones. The Roche, the Biogen, Lilly, Merck, there's a lot of them just ripping higher than stuff on our relative strength list. I just scratched this down. I'm all over the place. RVMD up another 2% today, crested 70. I think I already said that. Anyway, I think you get the idea. The drugs and cash are a good place to be right now. Just think Crockett and Tubbs, Miami Vice, or Scarface, or some other 80s cash and drugs movie, and that's kind of working in the market now. Um, the other stuff is not. So I mean, just go to what's working, and until it doesn't, ride that trend till it bends at the end. or, just stick in, those stocks that are trading lower, which I can't do because I can't sit through downturns. I just don't do that stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go through the relative strength list. I'll probably double up on some of these. ABVX, and these are alphabetical here. That's a biotech stock. AGX, this is a construction, build out of the data center. This is showing relative strength as well. ALB is a chemical play. Yeah, just making new highs yesterday, rallied up, pulled back to the 5, found support. That one looks fine as well. Cardinal Health, surprising. Cardinal Health surfing its 5 here. So these stocks showing relative strength, the breakout and the move higher. We've seen a lot of stocks breaking out and giving it all back recently. COGT, another biotech stock, gapped higher and now forming this flag pattern still above the 5. So, any stock above the 5 in this tape, we'll take it. GMED, medical product stock, you can see the gap higher and now this flag type pattern. That looks really good to me. Ooh, boy, does that look good or what? That one belongs on our ready list here. It's about ready. Um, I'm just don't want to put too many stocks on because people are getting hurt these days, and I don't want to see people get hurt. This is a global star, ran up, now pulled back, still above its moving averages, looks okay. LITE was upgraded today, had a nice response. It found support at the 21, now trading above its 5, 2.4% above the 5. So a nice day today. The fiber optic group is the number one group in rankings, not in performance, but in rankings. It might be in performance, very close. A couple of, but the drugs are probably going to overtake it today, although there's 800 stocks in the drug group. Lilly, I mentioned. Oh, Micron, I didn't get to these. Micron, this is what I'm talking about here. Makes a new high and then gives it up, and I'm not interested in this. It held below the 21, which is great, but what are the likelihoods that it slices it later this week? Mm, where did it close here? A tick above the 21, which reminds me of SanDisk. I think these are coming off our list today. Just too much weakness here. Yeah, this one closed. Well, it's above the 21, 12% above the 21, and it closed 3%, 3.5% below the 5. SanDisk just showing a lot of weakness. It's too, see how tight it is here, the tight trading, and now it starts getting wide and loose, starting with this bar right here on the 7th, $37 day here, and every day is just wide and loose, which tells you, they're not really sure of what to pay for SanDisk. A lot of indecision there, and usually when they top like that, they come back down. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be long SanDisk right now. Um, it's just had a big run. It's one of those names that had a big run, and they're selling that type of name. So that's coming off our board tomorrow for sure. I did mention PBF earlier. That's on our list as well. PRAX, another biotech name, is holding up above its moving averages. PCVX, another biotech name, now above its moving averages. This is nice here, 45.27. Yeah, above that. Now you can see the shorter term moving averages moving through the longer term moving averages. Yeah, I like that one. A little extended for our ready list, but man, that looks pretty good. Um, what else do I have? Oh, TSEM. Tower Semi, another one. Yeah, that should stay on the list. And TVTX, another biotech stock. So biotech, the drugs are killing it right now. That's no doubt about it. How long this will last, I don't know. But you ride the trend until it bends at the end, then you get the heck out of Dodge. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I wish I had better news, but I don't. And you just got to make the adjustments in the market. We don't get the market that we want. We get the one that we have to deal with. It's not like the Rolling Stones saying you can't always get what you want, you get what you need. So I want this thing to trade higher. I want it to rally back above the 50 and the 21, but it doesn't care what I want. And we have to live with reality. And our observation here is it's below the 50. Bad things happen below the 50. So you have to be careful. We're on dead red, 275-point move, 1.21% move lower. That's nothing. That's a lot of pain right there. A lot of people are getting hurt here. conditioned to think that, this long rally is just going to continue forever and ever and ever, and it's just not. It's not. I know a lot of people were expecting a big November and December and a year-end rally, but I got to harken back to 2021. I hate doing this to people, but yeah, it topped here, and we all thought, oh, November, is going to rally hard, and we're going to have a big rally. Look at how long it's been going up, and we know what happened is Jerome Powell started raising interest rates, and the stock market responded by just going negative forever the whole year of 2022. So, yeah, it can top. I'm not saying that, the Nasdaq did top, but it very well could have, right? Um, it very well could have. That 24, we have to keep an open mind now. That 24,019 could be the high for the year. And it could be the high for a long time. I mean, I don't want to be too hyperbolic about it, but everybody thought this was the high, 21,803 when it pulled back, but nope, it rallied up to 23,119. That's the high. Nope, pulled back and then rallied to 24,019, pulled back. It certainly could rally back above 24 to 25 or 26,000 this year, but we have to take it one day at a time. And right now it's below the 50, and you have to be cautious. You have to protect your capital. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in the honor of the great Steve Jobs. I do have one more thing. After hours, Constellation Energy, what happened here? The Trump administration gave them a $1 billion loan, I think, to fire up 3 Mile Island nuclear. We need all sorts of power. We need all the power we can get for these data center build outs. And so this is up on that news on Semi. They announced a $1 billion stock buyback program, and that's up 3%. And then Powell Industries, this is one of those data center build out plays, those construction, electrical power equipment name here, up 1% on earnings. They crushed earnings. I didn't see the guidance, but man, they really crushed earnings. And you can see the group here is VRT is in this group, one of my favorites in this group. But yeah, this is below the 50 now as well. Um, yeah, I better get back to Powell, not this is Jerome Powell's stock. I think of him every time. Yeah, this is at 413, undercut the 50. Maybe it rallies back up on this earnings report tonight. It was really a strong earnings report. I didn't see the guidance, but the earnings and sales growth really crushed it. Anyway, thank you for watching. We just we deal with the market that we have, and take it one day at a time, be patient. Our time will come. Just leave the bat on the shoulder, wait for that fat pitch. It's coming, and never give up.